Hello again, everybody, and welcome to Gamecock Central Radio. Emerson Phillips, joined by Gamecock legend Kip Bouknight. Kip was the winner of the 2000 Golden Spikes Award, and he joins us each week to talk Gamecock baseball here on Gamecock Central Radio. Kip, another SEC Series win for the Gamecocks. Long road trip to College Station, Texas, and the Gamecocks dropped the first game of the series this past weekend with Texas A&M, but came back to win the second and third games. So the regular season has come to a close. The Gamecocks now head to Hoover with the 5 seed in the SEC baseball tournament. And Carolina, one of the hottest teams in the league right now, Kip, having won 5 straight SEC series. They won all 5 series in the second half of conference play.
Yeah, South Carolina's just been hitting on all cylinders here in the last part of the season. Just been doing a great job, and really a huge series win at Texas A&M, a very tough place to play. And Texas A&M really needing that series to better themselves for postseason possibilities and potential hosting, possibilities there. And South Carolina really came back after a tough loss on Thursday, and really did enough this weekend, and just finished off the second half of the season just on fire. And South Carolina turns to the postseason now, and look for bright things in their future.
Texas A&M won Game 1 6-3 on Thursday, but then the Gamecocks came back and won 5-3 on Friday night. 3 Texas A&M errors helped South Carolina. That was an interesting game. Kip, the Gamecocks again fell behind. You know, the Aggies scored the first 3 runs of the game, all in the second inning, and for whatever reason, the Gamecocks have demonstrated, number one, that they're going to fall behind from time to time, but they've also demonstrated over and over again that they're able to come back from multi-run deficits early in the game. That's a characteristic that could help them down the stretch here.
South Carolina plays 9 innings, and, sometimes you do fall behind, but they don't let it get to them, and they come out and play 9 innings of baseball. And, really a tough loss Thursday night. I mean, Thursday could have went either way. I mean, in I believe the 6th or 7th inning, Logan Chapman pitched really well, and there were a couple balls that, he definitely should have made a play on the first one. I think he would tell you, ball tipped off his glove, a little chopper, and ended up maybe a little miscommunication with shortstop LT Tolbert and second baseman. They came in on the play, and probably a play should have been made, and ended up costing them a run and probably costing them the game. But either way, South Carolina rebounded, did really well. Big win on Friday, like you said, coming back after being down 3-0 again. And this team just continues to show a lot of grit and a lot of perseverance, and they come ready to play. And it's been a fun team to follow.
Graham Lawson pitched 4 scoreless innings of relief for the Gamecocks in that win on Friday, and that was obviously a huge performance for the Gamecock pitching staff. Talk about Graham Lawson and his effort on Saturday.
He was electric. He was outstanding. His slider was incredible, and running it up there in the mid-90s with his fastball as well. Graham Lawson certainly was extended a little bit, but, I just felt like that, at South Carolina at this time, they really needed those wins. And, I mean, he just was huge for them, and getting that win on Friday and getting the ball after Adam Hill with another solid start. Wasn't his best, but, is starting to learn maybe how to win without his best stuff and his best command. And that was huge for South Carolina. But Graham Lawson, I mean, I think they've got 4, 5, 6 guys in the bullpen that they just got to figure out which one is going to be hot that day, and they can be pretty tough. And South Carolina, again, has put themselves in a position now that I do believe that they can go out and win a couple games. This could be a dangerous team in the playoffs.
So Graham Lawson's outstanding effort out of the bullpen helped the Gamecocks come back from a 3-0 deficit to win Game 2 against Texas A&M, and that set the stage for the last game of the regular season. And it was a fun game to watch for Gamecock fans because the Gamecocks hit 2 home runs in the top of the first inning. I mean, they came out swinging on Saturday. It seemed like some pressure had been lifted off of Carolina with Saturday's win, and they came out real loose, and the wind was blowing out, and Noah Campbell homered to right to open the ball game, and then Madison Stokes hit a 2-run shot later in the first inning. Gamecocks jumped out 4-0 in the top of the first and never looked back. Cody Morris struck out 7 in 7 innings of work, and the Gamecocks picked up their 17th SEC win of the season. Remember, Carolina started 1-5 in league play. The Gamecocks wrap up SEC play 17-13. South Carolina 32-22 overall, heading to Hoover with the number 5 seed in the SEC tournament. So, Kip, the Gamecocks won 10-1 on Saturday, and everything in that game went Carolina's way.
Yeah, it did. It's finally, it was good for the fans, but I'm really happy for the players and the coaches. That was a game that, fortunately for them, they really didn't have to sweat it out. They were in command the whole game and just dominated, and you could tell Texas A&M just kind of lost interest, if you will. And I think that's also a testament to show, we haven't seen that from South Carolina. Even when South Carolina was struggling the first part of the season, in the SEC and with all games, I mean, they still didn't just lay down, and I felt like A&M laid down, but that's a testament to South Carolina and what they did. They came out obviously ready to play and hungry, and just a great finish to the season. I mean, to think this team ended up 17-13 in league play is quite remarkable after a 1-5 start. It is just outstanding. I mean, we're talking about a team, Emerson, that if they don't lose to Furman, Presbyterian, Citadel, and Charleston Southern, those 4 losses right there, if they don't lose those games, we're talking about a team that is, I mean, a little bit in the talks of a national seed, but they're definitely hosting. I mean, that's how close this team is to being, without a doubt, top 16, definitely hosting in the NCAA tournament. So, some may take that as a negative. I take that as a major positive. As much as it's frustrating losing those games, South Carolina, at midway point of the season, easily could have folded. This is a team that easily could have just mentally been worn out and, God, new coaches in town, and, there were guys that may have been questioning, is this the right move? Should we have had Holbrook another year? Do we like what Mark Kingston's doing? But 2 things for me. Number 1, obviously Mark Kingston's the right move. Number 2, and it's really mainly number 1, is the guys believe in him. And the guys, and it's a testament to these seniors and the guys that are in this program. They believe in him, and they, even when things weren't going well, they didn't fold. So it tells me a lot about who they are as people, and it shows the character that they have, and I couldn't be more happy and proud for them.
Yeah, the Gamecocks in good shape right now. Kip, we talked on GCR last week about Texas A&M, and I said that A&M was going to the tournament. Their RPI was top 20 in the country going into the Carolina series this past weekend. But now I'm not sure if A&M's in the tournament or not. I mean, I still think they're probably going to get in, but, they're the 11th seed in the SEC tournament, and they're below 500 in conference play. I'm not at all convinced that they're a lock for the NCAA tournament. Last week I thought they were. Right now I'm not so sure.
Yeah, I'm not sure either. I mean, the one thing that obviously helps them is the RPI, but, I think that I think they're certainly going to feel like they need to come to the SEC tournament and win a couple games for sure. And, it's not easy to do that. I mean, you obviously have seen anybody in this SEC tournament can beat anybody. I mean, look at what just happened to Florida. I mean, if I'm Florida coming into the SEC tournament, I mean, that wasn't good what happened to them, getting swept. So, I mean, it remains to be seen what will happen. I think a team like that, if they win a couple games in the SEC tournament, I think they have to be in just because of their RPI and what they've done in the league. And but South Carolina, you look back at 3 weeks ago, and we were saying, gosh, if you can get to 15-15, you got a chance. But it's nice to know now that they've got more than a chance. I mean, they're virtually a lock, in my opinion, to get to the postseason. But I don't think that's going to change their approach at all. They're going to go to the SEC tournament trying to win it, just like they've done, every year since South Carolina's ever been to the SEC tournament. It always hasn't worked out, obviously. We know that over the history of that tournament, South Carolina really hasn't done too well, but it's not from a lack of effort, I can assure you that.
So the SEC tournament seedings are set, and the Gamecocks open play on Tuesday. That's the first day of the tournament. I'll give you the seedings right here. Kip and I are going to come back tomorrow and have a full preview of the SEC baseball tournament. But very quickly, we'll give you the seeds. Florida swept by Mississippi State this weekend, but they had done so much work prior to that final series of the regular season that they had already clinched the number 1 seed. So Florida is your number 1. Ole Miss is the number 2 seed. Georgia is number 3, and Arkansas is number 4. All of those teams receive a bye in the first round. They won't play until Wednesday. So Tuesday is when the tournament starts at Hoover Met Stadium in Hoover, Alabama. Game 1 will be 6 seed Vanderbilt versus number 11 Texas A&M at 9:30 a.m. That's Central Time. So that'll be 10:30 start Eastern Time for Vandy and A&M, 6 versus 11. Then we've got 7 versus 10, Auburn versus Kentucky, approximately a 1 o'clock Central start. Game 3 will be 8 versus 9, LSU versus Mississippi State, 4:30 Central start. All these games on the SEC Network. And South Carolina and Missouri is the 5-12 matchup. That will be the final game on Tuesday, scheduled for an 8 o'clock start, but it could be 8:45, 9 o'clock before it gets underway. So we'll just have to see how things go Tuesday. But we know that the Gamecocks will be the last game of the day, South Carolina against Missouri on the SEC Network on Tuesday. So, Kip, the Gamecocks are rolling right now. I mean, 5 straight SEC series wins. The Gamecocks in really good shape, playing some good ball. The Gamecocks have battled injuries this year. They have persevered. They've overcome those problems and more. And right now it feels like Carolina's playing with house money headed into Hoover.
Yeah, I think they are. I do believe that. I think they're in. I think they're the message to the players now, as I'm sure Keith has given it to them, is, hey, let's go win this thing. We can't control, who hosts and what the selection committee decides to do. All we can control is what's in front of us on the field. So control the controllables, and everything else don't worry about. And, I think, some people may say that's a tough thing for 18, 21-year-olds to do, but I think they've shown that they can definitely do that. I think they've shown what they can do with their backs against the wall. And right now, I think they should be optimistic and trying to go out and take it day by day and win one game at a time. But you never know what could happen. I mean, I've even heard rumblings of South Carolina hosting and maybe a team like Duke being the number 1 seed and South Carolina hosting. So, I mean, the hosting is still out there because of Carolina Stadium, or Founders Park, I should say, and because of the reputation that South Carolina has. Obviously, the program of the 2000s, if you will. So I think that there's a lot still left to play for, and I can assure you the Gamecocks are going to be hungry in Birmingham.
All right, the South Carolina-Missouri winner will play the last game on Wednesday against 4th seed Arkansas at approximately 8 p.m. Central Time. So we'll come back tomorrow, and we'll have a full preview of the SEC baseball tournament here on Gamecock Central Radio. Kip Bouknight, my partner here for Gamecock Baseball Talk. Kip is a color analyst for the SEC Baseball Network, and he is a Gamecock legend. Kip, thanks for your time.
Thank you so much, Emerson. Go Gamecocks.
That's Kip Bouknight, and I'm Emerson Phillips, and this is Gamecock Central Radio. Thanks for being with us. We'll be back tomorrow for an SEC tournament preview.